Thank you. That one you can really go into the mountains. My God, that flute. This one's soft and sweet.
Can you open something?
I guess I should put those over there so they don't get, they're kept safe. Back in the late 70s, I started to be very interested in microscopic investigation, and I was one of the very first people who had the opportunity to be looking at living blood under the most sophisticated microscopes on the earth. And I've studied in Russia, in Japan, Germany, Quebec, America, South Africa and Australia. Back then I really was very interested in blood and the quality of blood. And so I had the opportunity really to be able to investigate this under the most sophisticated microscopes on the earth, which, you know, I was at the university in Oslo and I was connecting with the biology professors and things, and I was asking them really, have they actually really seen any living blood? No. Every single thing which has been looked at, you know, is dead. So in all the universities of the world, for the most part, they only really look at stained blood, so it's all dead. And the other microscopic work that's done is done with an electron microscope, you know, and that also kills everything underneath it. So there's a world underneath which is incredible and beyond what people have thought in biology, which I'm going to save that for the talk that's after this, because I've got a bit of a PowerPoint and some things. But this is what we're doing here is learning how to read the body like a book, and I know we only have a bit of time, but I really would love it that I could teach you some things that you could come away with, and a little bit of a deep insight how to be able to observe what's going on inside. Interesting? Yes. So I'm going to do what I can to make this a little bit of interactive and things. But anyway, so, you know, I spent, you know, some years, you know, and I really was seeing people, and people would be lined up, and I would be just like sitting, having taken a bit of blood, and I'll be looking at the person's blood. This is sort of living blood, you know. I'm looking down here, and occasionally, just occasionally, I'd look over at the person the blood came from, you know, back down here, looking up at the screen, you know, and occasionally I'll be looking at the person, you know, and this went on for a while, you know. It's amazing how dumb sometimes some people can be. But anyway, so one day, I'm spending all my time looking down here. Occasionally I'm looking over at my person I've got the blood from, you know. And I had a very serious... Do we need to open up that a little bit to let some air in? Okay, fabulous. I had a very serious epiphany. Does everybody know what that word is? Epiphany is like, oh my God, revelation, like, but more than that. Because I had spent all the time and years just looking at someone's blood down here and hardly spending any time looking at my person. And I thought that was weird. All of a sudden I realised, this seems weird to me. I said, I'm just looking at a tiny little something from the person, and they're sitting there. Why don't I learn how to read the body? So I just had this like serious realisation. I went, oh my God, I better do everything I can, quick. You know, start to read the body, see. So then I set about and I really went all over the earth, and I looked at texts where this is how it was done, always. Ancient texts written on leaves, and the Ayurvedic tradition, and then the ancient Chinese tradition, and then because I've been over in America, and when I first got over there, I connected with this medicine woman, and her name is Cloud Two Children, and this is Gulf Indians, and so that's why I have this mohawk, because it's one of the very few places on the earth still which they actually still do mohawk, except for Krishna's time and Buddha's time. Nobody sort of really grew their hair just here, you know, so I did that. And I apprenticed with her. She happens to be the ceremonial chief that represents the indigenous council of the earth, representing the Native Americans, all of Native America. So she's very amazing. And I apprenticed with her for 4 years, and then I went on the road for another 5 years with her, and I learned everything she did. And during that time I became adopted as the tribe's spiritual son. And so I started to take over the ceremony that Cloud did, and I mainly did entheogenic ceremonies. Do you know what this is? Entheogenics is where the natives take peyote, and then maybe 20% of the time I've done over 2,000. I've led over 2,000 entheogenic ceremonies in the last 35 years. Entheogenic, they will take a little sacrament called peyote. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
You have, yeah. And so it creates a slightly altered state, you know? But it causes a person to actually be able to process through things and that. But anyway, all these things have assisted me to be able to look inside, that I can now today, it's possible for me to look inside the brain, the heart, and the liver, the intestinal tract, thyroid, any part of your body is possible for me to look inside and see. And but the first time that I took peyote, you know, I was a little bit, sort of a bit afraid, you know, because I sort of hadn't done anything much like that before. and I was sitting there, and and it was like a beautiful circle like this. And there were some 50 people in the ceremony or something. Anyway, so I ate one of these buttons, because it's a little cactus button, you know. And I ate a cactus button, and like, some time passed by, you know, and I was just sitting there, and every little thing that seemed to be different, I'd be going, oh, gee, maybe it's happening, you know, maybe something's happening, you know. But anyway, things didn't seem to happen much at all, you know, so I was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden I thought, oh gee, maybe I need to actually get another button. So I get up, you know, and I go over and I get a plate and I get another button, I come back and I sit down, and I'm halfway through the button, and all of a sudden poof, I can feel the effect of the first button, you know. And things had never happened to me like that before much, you know. But within, like, I guess maybe it seemed like just seconds more or less, all of a sudden I completely had forgotten who I was. And that's quite frightening relatively, you know, because all of a sudden you just have no past, nothing. It's like, but everything that we do is sort of, it's possible that we could travel out into the universe, but you can have remembered to forget yourself. And we can travel very, very deep inside too, and that we could go so deep, but that we should always be able to remember how to deeply forgive. So I just realised that I needed to be able to learn to read the body like a book, and so that's how I began. And I began reading the eyes, reading the face, reading the hands, and reading the pulses, doing some palpation and some percussion. So what I'd love to do is perhaps to read perhaps two persons, just short, because it only takes... Okay, you're first. Oh, sorry, I just saw the hands come up over here. But everybody will have an opportunity to, and if you care to be able to, for us to connect with each other at any time, let not anything stand in the way that you come and we connect with each other. And people have been so kind to me in my life, and I could never have achieved the things I have unless it was for people giving. And I spent many years on the road.